Good morning. It's Saturday. I'm in the office. You know what that means. The Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. And today I have some great advice from the world of sports. I heard a sportscaster say this once. It sounds like a dumb thing to say, but I'm going to tell you how it is a deep and fantastic thing to say and great part of your motivation. So the thing that this announcer said, this is the time of year, right? We have football, we have basketball. Even with COVID, they're trying to get it done. NBA, NFL, college football, all of this is happening. Saturday is a great day for sports. You're going to hear announcers say something today that you think maybe is not very smart, but it really is. And here is what I heard that I now think is really great advice. All you have to do is score more points than the other team to win. That's it. As soon as I heard it on a television broadcast of a college football game, I started laughing. I thought this was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard. A TV announcer, a professional, a full-fledged professional says, all you have to do to win the game is score more points than the other team. No kidding. That's exactly how solid of advice you're going to give us as the professional, as the guy who's being paid to talk about the game that we're watching, to tell us what's happening because you have more expertise than us, and you tell us all you have to do is score more points to win the game? Really? That's such a dumb thing to say. That's what I thought at the time. But if you stop and think about it, if you apply it towards being an entrepreneur, running a business, even in your career or other pursuits, everything starts at the most basic level. Let me say that again so that you get it. Everything starts at the very most basic, the very base level of something. The simplest version of the full idea is where you start. You can't start with the finished product, the finished concept. You don't start with the billion-dollar corporation. You start with a basic idea of what you're trying to do. You start with the concept of all you have to do is score more points than the other team to win. It's that easy. You don't know how you're going to do it. You don't know what the circumstances will be. You don't know what the competition is going to push back with. You don't know what the referees or the set of rules are going to allow you to do. You don't know how it's going to work out, but you also know that you can never get to the finish line. You can't win the game. It's in metaphors here, the sports metaphors, right? You can't be victorious. You can't be successful if you don't start. And if you're hung up on the perfection version of what it is you're trying to do, the ultimate goal, it's intimidating and it doesn't allow you to start. It can be stifling. It can hold you back. A lot of people have an idea, and then when they don't know from idea to the next second how to execute successfully that idea, they stop because it seems too hard. And that is a failure. Only time something is a failure when it stops you from moving forward. So going to the base version of, if I can do this and simply need to score more points than the other team to win, if I just can do the most basic version of the idea I have, that's the starting place. That starting place then allows you to begin the process of understanding what you're up against, understanding the challenges, taking those early losses, those early setbacks, those early negative responses, and working them into the development of the idea to a better idea, to something real, tangible, a real product, a real service. And once you have a real product and real service, then you can move forward with putting together the structure around that becomes a real business. Now, if you have a solid product or service that you have vetted the process, it's something that you're personally invested in, you have passion for, it's something you're willing to put yourself on the line for. If you're something that you're going to go and compete with, the same way you would compete on a basketball court, a baseball field, a football field, a pitch in soccer, if you will, now you have an opportunity to create success for yourself. It's not guaranteed. You still have to score more points than the other team on a regular basis in order to win. I love going back to that simplistic metaphor that I'm going to many, many times today. But if you start, if you build structure, and if you move forward in the way things get done in business, you have an opportunity, this is the key, the opportunity, no guarantee, but the opportunity to be successful. And every time you don't score more points than the other team, every time you have a setback, you simply take the feedback, take the lesson learned, take the information you get from that negative response and move forward with that in a new, better, different way because you've adapted yourself along the way. Or everything around you adapts, or your competition does something different or reacts differently, etc. And so all these things are going to be completely different as to what happens next, but you can't get to next until you start, and you have to start at that basic idea. All I have to do is score more points and I can win this game. It's that simple. All I have to do is take this idea and start, and I have the opportunity to be successful. It's that simple. And sometimes the simplest advice is the absolute best advice. And so that's what I'm giving you today is go to the simplest version of your idea. Go to the simplest concept. Go to the very most stripped down, nothing else to it except the core idea, and start there. You start with a blank piece of paper. You start with a blank canvas. You start with nothing, but you put that first piece down, that first idea, and then you roll. You go from there. You don't stop. Even when things are negative, when things push back, when you have outcomes that you don't want, when you lose matches, when you lose games, when you don't score more points than the other guy, the other team, all of this, but you keep moving forward. You take that loss and you move forward. Do you know how many baseball games there are in a year? Do you know how many times teams win or lose a baseball game? Typically, you can get to the World Series and only win in about 60% of your games. And if you are a really great batter in a Major League Baseball, you only hit the ball 3 out of 10 times at bat. 300 is considered a great batting average in the big leagues, which means that 7 out of 10 times you don't succeed. Think about that. Of course, they're competing with the best pitchers and the best defensive players in the world. Same thing in basketball, in football, etc. You don't have quarterbacks that hit 99% of their passes on a regular basis, or 90% of their passes on a regular basis. You don't have receivers who catch 100% of balls thrown to them. You don't have running backs who get over 100 yards in every single game. It just doesn't happen. You have things that work well and things that don't. But the goal of putting the team together, taking all your assets, putting your best strengths forward, trying to compete against your competition for what their strengths are, and ultimately scoring more points than the other team, there it is again, is how you win games. That's how you're successful in business. That's how you craft a career. That's how you take anything from an idea to a successful, executable item, is starting, and start at the basics. Start the simple version. Every time that you do it, every time that you get better, every time you learn something from it, every time you advance it, every time you develop the thing from the most basic thing to the next thing to the thing that ultimately is going to be successful, that's the process. That's the journey. That's the thing that really, honestly, at the end of the day, turns entrepreneurs on, is working that out, figuring those things out, problem solving, and getting through and past all the objections and getting to something that's highly successful, starting with a blank piece of paper, the most simplest version of an idea, and developing a complete company around it with employees and with customers and with vendors and collaborators and all of the minutia that comes with doing business with internally and externally, all these things that come with making and creating a business, creating business success. That success stays at business. You get to employ those people. You get to pay your vendors. You get to pay your bills. You get to put money in your community. You get to pay taxes. That's a good thing. It's good for your community. That's how we support our schools. That's how we get roads. All of this is the process. This is all the idea. But that big idea, that big thing, starts with the most basic idea. And it won't be successful if you don't start. So start with this idea. Let's say it one last time. All you have to do to win this game is score more points than your opponent. So simple. It made me laugh the first time I heard it. I said it a few other times, mockingly, trying to kind of make fun of the announcer. I can't believe I heard this professional blurt this out in reference to a college football game. But I began to start saying this in response to very obvious questions. And then it dawned on me that the obvious answer, the simplest version, is actually great advice. That's why I'm sharing it with you today on the Saturday Morning Hustle. I hope you appreciate it. I hope you get where I'm coming from. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I hope you'll apply it. I hope you'll say it to people in the world. All you have to do is score more points than the other guy. I hope you will tweet it. You will Facebook it. You will Instagram it. You'll make your own videos about it. You will take this advice and run with it. Run like a running back. Run like a base runner. Run like someone on a fast break. Here's sports metaphors all over again. So take this basic sports metaphor and use it to motivate you to go from idea to reality, because you just got to start. That's the advice today on the Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week. Hit me up on social media. Let me know what you like, what you dislike, agree, disagree, what you want to talk about on the Saturday Morning Hustle. It's all good. Find me on social media, make comments, follow the hashtags. Of course, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the videos, subscribe to the Instagram channel, the IGTV channel, the Twitter account, all of it. And go to SaturdayMorningHustle.com. Get yourself some swag, like this beautiful Saturday Morning Hustle t-shirt I'm wearing right now. We got hats, we got phone covers, we have face mask, we have the Saturday Morning Hustle. We also have hashtag coffee and donuts, and we have hashtag entrepreneur AF. Lots of great stuff on the store. So go check it out. Come back next Saturday for the Saturday Morning Hustle again. Hit me up on social media. Until then, I screwed it up. Until then, go score more points than the other team. Good luck.